Chocolata.
El show más chido por las tardes.
Y toda la música que te encanta.
Descubre hoy todo lo que hay en elbotón.com.
Sigo escuchando, sigo riendo, y a la radio yo no le cambio.
For real?
Attention, woman in the nosh aisle. Yes, those deals are real.
What is this place?
Grocery outlet, where you can get otherworldly deals on natural and organic products every day.
I'm feeling such bliss.
It's the deals. They do that to people.
Grocery outlet, bargain market.
To the beat of a mighty drum! Midsummer Fairy Tale is back August 21st to 22nd. The Midsummer Fairy Tale will host 12 amazing artists over 2 days. See indie music experiences, interactive experiences, musicians ranging from folk, pop, and Celtic. For tickets, go to midsummerfairytale.eventbrite.com. For more information, visit us on Facebook at Midsummer Fairy Tale. Midsummer Fairy Tale! It's not an event, it's an experience!
You love them enough to do anything for them.
Dad, can we make 200 cookies for my bake sale tomorrow?
Let's do this. Including checking nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Justin Gendry with Gendry, Hammer, and Schneiderman. We handle your case from beginning to end and are as invested as you are in getting the outcome you deserve.
If you get an injury, just call Gendry, Hammer, and Schneiderman.
9164-INJURY.
This hour of music sponsored by...
I'm blessed when they summon the onions and dressing. The cheese is a flex. All the flavors so fresh. This is where I wanna be, where the taste is straight harmony.
The new Sourdough Star, Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Available for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
From the Solano County Water Agency, you can save up to $1,000 on a smart sprinkler timer. Some are even controlled by your phone, or $1,000 for a beautiful new WaterWise yard. Get all of the details about rebates and learn WaterWise tips on the Solano County Water Agency website at scwa2.com. That's scwa2.com.
Whether it's single-tooth implants, dentures, or implant-supported dentures, Dr. Belusco and his team can help you get your smile back, often in the same day at a price that's, well, affordable. More patients who visit Affordable Dentures and Implants are choosing dental implants as the best option to restore their smiles and quality of life. Dental implants act like the roots of your teeth and help give you a confident, healthy, and pain-free smile. Visit Dr. Paul Belusco at Affordable Dentures and Implants. The Vallejo office is located at 125 Plaza Drive in the Gateway Plaza, just off I-80, just south of 37. To schedule your free new patient consultation, call 1-800-DENTURE or visit affordabledentures.com. That's 1-800-DENTURE or affordabledentures.com. Affordable Dentures and Implants and Dr. Paul Belusco in Vallejo want you to go ahead and smile.
Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton at Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to the Olympic Committee. And I really appreciate that, the way things are going with Big C Sports. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars also all around the world. Just say Google or Alexa play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce Big C. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. It's all fair in love and war, but I really do appreciate that Big C Sports has been Espy nominated 2021. Really appreciate that. You can clap for that. All fair in love and war, and I believe all good things as can be manifested. I want to say today's show is amazing. We have so many things to talk about, a lot of things going on in the world of sports, and I do appreciate how things have happened, because sports is a billion-dollar industry, and it can bring a lot of people together. I love telling people that it's all fair and level war. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. It's great to have a smart TV. You'll be sitting there looking at a stock picture. Also say Google or Alexa. It's all fair and love and war. I want to say something that's so important to me. I have one of the most intelligent, erudite gentlemen on our show that I've ever spoken to in the universe. His name is Clyde Jones, senior MBA. Just a wealth of knowledge and I really do appreciate the fact that we had the chance to have him on Big C Sports Podcast yesterday. He's also just so inspiring to me and a good friend of mine, and love to just share that knowledge of what we had with the great Clyde Jones. I want to also say, in reference to the great Clyde Jones, he's also a military veteran, which is really important. We give out a Veterans Crisis Hotline number. It's 800-273-8255. If you know anybody going through issues, just give out that number. You can also text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. You can definitely just help for our veterans and their loved ones. Also, very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the first place San Francisco Giants, and the Home Run King, as well as the Say Hey Kid. Our goal is simple. When you reach out to them, just tell them Charlton wants World Series tickets. All fair and level war. I'll just use my media pass, depending on how the broadcast networks work. But our goal is simple: recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country to help put people back to work, just like McDonald's does it. Car dealerships are doing it. Sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate anywhere in the United States, and soon coming to Paris, France, go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of our loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage, the #1 lender in the country on the wholesale side. But anywhere in the United States, if you're looking for work in real estate, bigcsports.pacwm.com, 800-772-8624. You'll see opportunities in loans. Also, all around the world, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like God said in Genesis 1:3. Let there be light. Open your cell phones or your smart devices and just say it. Play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see all of our apps pop up, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. I also want to say today's show is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol and 100% on your game, and you can clap for that, giving 0% alcohol, 100% on your game. It goes great with the Big C Burger. It is a tasty burger, and it comes with exotic meats. You only get it by following the Big C Sports Podcast. There's some restaurants that you go to for fast food, and they have a menu that's not on the regular menu. That means you got to know somebody. You just tell them Big C sent you. You want the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger. It comes with, sometimes the meat can be a little bit gamey. I've learned that out. It's the easy way. It was good, but I know it's not healthy for you. I also want to say, for all the people out there dealing with post-COVID, and it was going on in pre-COVID, but in post-COVID, I got some advice from a wise person. Stop being at odds and in bad terms with people that you love, or people that you used to love. It's all fair and level war. What's love got to do? The great Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? Ike, why were you being so mean to Tina? That's not necessary. But sometimes people are mean to nice people too, so maybe that's equal time. I want to thank my ARC for the $6 billion manifestation. $6 billion! You know, Steve Austin, Lee Majors, he played this $6 million man. Would you believe the $6 million man, his partner Claude Poussaint, out of Canada, was on Big C Sports just a couple of weeks ago. They have a movie called Victory by Submission. You know who's in that movie? Fred the Hammer Wilkinson? Yeah. And Lee Majors, $6 million man. All's fair in love and war. Really appreciate Claude Poussaint coming onto the show. Everything's amazing when you reach out and touch somebody's hand, and you make this world a better place if you can. But I do want to start out today's show talking about some things that are important. I still want to pay homage to a great friend of mine, Clyde Jones, senior MBA engineering degree, Berkeley, California, Baseball Hall of Fame with the Royce Hobbs men's national team, Omega fraternity. Omega's produced the first black astronaut, the first graduate of Tuskegee University in Alabama, in Omega. You know who's another Omega? The leading scorer in the history of the NBA, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's an Omega. You want to know the greatest civil rights activist, modern-day civil rights activist in the history of the United States? Reverend Jesse Jackson. He's an Omega. The Omegas wrote the first affirmative action plan for the Pacific Fleet, 1972. That's my friend, the great Clyde Jones. He wrote the affirmative action plan, the first one, for the United States Pacific Fleet, 1972. In the Pentagon, he was ranked as the top 1% of officers. He's a black man. They will never call him out of his name. He'll put you in place. Hopefully some of you athletes learn that. Quit letting people call you freaks when you can dominate the whole family. Not a freak. You're a king and a prince. Edify yourself. If you don't, nobody will. It's a pretty sad dog that won't wag his own tail. Clyde also played Central Michigan, Missouri, actually Central Missouri State. He was the first black pitcher. Counts 3-2, the pitch. Struck him out! Retired the side! That's Clyde Jones doing his thing. He's the first black person in the engineering field for Shell Oil Company in Wood River, Illinois. Chapter president for 4 years at Travis Air Force Base. My father was a veteran for the Air Force. On the National Tuskegee Foundation, they give out 40 scholarships per year. That's the Los Angeles chapter alone. Think about that. The goal? I don't want to upset some mainstream people that want to say, look at how big and strong and fast this guy is. Hit deep, right field, home run, touchdown. It's okay for that too. But Clyde Sr.'s goal, never to emasculate black men by calling us freaks, or he runs like an ape, or he runs like a gazelle. Mainstream does that all the time. And some black men turn around and say the same thing because they don't know who they are. You never hear that from Clyde. Too well educated, too well read. His goal? To empower other black professionals, to advance in this political system, this criminal justice system that has a lot of people on the outside looking in. And you know that's true. At the same time, he helped build a church, St. Stephen's Church in Fairfield, California, near Travis Air Force Base. And he knows a lot about what a lot of African Americans should understand. The constitutional law. If you go to Wikipedia, look up Nisara law. It's what 209 countries under the Paris Agreement want to do. As we're saying, touchdown, home run, three-point play. That affects everybody. You don't hear most black men talk like that. But you do on Big C Sports Podcast. That's why we're Espy nominated for 2021. And we're going to win the Espy. Or I'm going to say because I show up and do things on my own. Big C Sports Podcast, to all of you broadcast sponsors out there, people paying 7 figures for broadcasters who, if the teleprompter breaks down, their show's off the air. They're saying, so what do you guys want me to say? What do I say next? I don't have a script. Some people say, yeah, that's obvious. Talk about Jesus. Talk about praise God. Of course you don't have a script on mainstream broadcast. I'm not ashamed. If you love me, feed my sheep. A lot of people only want to God when they need some help. Like, Lord, help me. I always say, Lord, help me all the time. I know I need help. God knows it too. That's why I'm always saying Matthew 7:7. All fair and love and war. I just want people to understand. I want to pay out Mr. Clyde because oftentimes intelligent, erudite black men like him, they won't let you on the program. If you notice, they'll let you on the program if you're tearing people down, telling people they don't know anything. Let me explain something to you. I can't believe you think this guy's a better player than the other player. I can't believe you think this guy has a better three-point shot. I can't believe you think this guy runs faster than the other guy. And they'll put him on TV to argue. They even had a Jewish gentleman on a TV show. The show was so embarrassing. They had 2 African-American men on. And they spent time tearing each other down after Milwaukee won the NBA championship. They didn't have to air that show. I've been among many, many production conversations in NFL football, NBA basketball, Major League Baseball, college football, college basketball, college baseball, where people, some white broadcasters were cussing each other out. But it was off the air. They did not air it over the waves. But I just told you we have one of our Jewish brethren in this media business. You can probably Google the show. There's like almost all of them are like that now. They yell and scream and put the other person down. Instead of having a quid pro quo, it's a zero-sum game. Like, how do I have to tear you down in order for me to look good? But that's how they put black men in those roles. And they gladly walk into it. It's a shame. You never hear the edification of God. Only, oh, let me explain something to you. Let me tell you how, oh, you wrong. You don't understand. I don't even understand how you got on this show. I see that on TV all the time. My friend Clyde and I talk about that. He says, why in the world do you not have white men tearing each other down? You can watch it on TV shows. You don't see white guys tearing each other down. If they're tearing each other down, it's a black man and a white man. You never see the white host tearing each other down on TV shows. If you do, it's maybe 5% of the time. 95% of the time, they'll have two black men tearing each other down, going at each other. Everybody has a family. You know, sometimes people have their children watching shows. It's nice to edify. That's why I love saying all lives came from Africa. Dr. Leakey, Gregor Mendel, Google it. You don't hear white programs, mainstream programs telling you that. If it's the truth should set you free. Big C Sports tells you that's why we're going to be the Espy winner of 2021 podcast. That 7-figure contract is coming to Charleston with Big C Sports. I've already got affirmation of it. But by your stripes you are healed, by your fruit you are known. You're known by the people that you hang out with, birds of a feather flock together. That's why I always want to build people up, and that's why I brought on the great Clyde Jones to do some building up. For out of the heart, the mouth shall speak, the great T.D. Jakes. All's fair in love and war. So I wanted to pay homage again to my friend, the great Clyde Jones, just to let him know that I appreciate him. Also, when I'm out and about trying to build a real estate company, I want to hire 10,000 people. And it's going to happen. There's a co-worker of mine. I tried to recruit him back in 2004 for real estate. And things happened, but he stayed the course even more than I did. Yeah, I don't know his income, but I hear it's 7 figures, and he doesn't have to work anymore. He's not even 50 years old because of the power of real estate, building up teams. Every broker understands that. That's why the Big C team hopes to become the #1 lending source in the universe before the end of this year, God's providence. You ask not, or you have not because you ask not. I have the platform, bigcsports.pacwm.com. If you're looking for work, just go there. Rome wasn't built in a day, neither was the Big C team. But you just go there. I also want to pay homage to someone who took the time to walk up to me today. It's like walking into a store. Oftentimes people say, hi, can I help you? What's the common response? Yeah, if it's Mrs. Fields. Mrs. Fields Cookie, you can help me. Sometimes give me 2 or 3 times you can help me. But oftentimes if you walk into a department store and people say, hi, can I help you? Usually it's no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And that's the death knell of a person in sales. So I want to pay homage and pay it forward like people have done in my lifetime. People have always edified me since I was a young boy. Not everybody, but most people have. Especially Grandma Curry. And Grandpa Curry. But she touched me on my forehead in the hallway in Oakland, California. She said, there's something about your voice. She called me by my nickname. She said, there's something about your voice. I just love hearing you speak. And she was anointing me and she touched my head. Now we have a Big C Sports podcast, the #1 Espy-nominated podcast in the universe. I don't take for granted what my grandmother did. And my mother always edifying me. Brothers and sisters too. You can't control how people take the information, but every child needs to hear a father edify them. I was saying yesterday on the show, the great Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father. It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life. And when you listen to it with your eyes closed. Because some of our parents, their eyes are closed, but their spirit is still around. And when I hear that song, Dance with My Father again, how he used to lift me up and pick me up and do all those things that make me happy. You got to listen to that song while you're still breathing and pass it on to your children. How did the late Luther Vandross know that song would affect millions of people? It affects Big C Sports, and that's why I want to pay homage to a young African-American woman, intelligent, ambitious. Her name is Janice Lewis. She's from eHealth Insurance, the largest health insurance market in the United States. Why does she approach Charleston today with Big C Sports? Why? Because you have not, because you ask not. We're going to do business together. I showed her my partner with Walter Henry, one of the best insurance companies in the universe. You have not because you ask not. Guaranteed benefits. Guaranteed. No medical questions, no health exams. With an A-rated company. Guaranteed. How do you know about that? You know about it because of the Big C team. You know about it because of Big C Sports. I told you the reason we won, the reason we were nominated for a 2021 Espy's, or I can say since sometimes I'm the only one that shows up to class, and that's okay too. My mother said, you got to rise and shine. You up to bat. The pitch is coming at you. You got to hit it deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. You don't want to strike out. Part of everything you do in life is showing up. So Janice Lewis, you approached me one time. I was on the phone when you did it. Like Noah's Ark is always open. Janice Lewis, eHealth Insurance, with the largest health insurance market in the United States of America, approached Charleston with Big C Sports. And I wanted to pay homage to her by letting people know that she sells insurance. You can Google her name, All Fair and Love and War. And I want to pay homage to people, and that's what I love doing with Big C Sports. Before we come up on the Big C pause, I'm so proud of what's going on in the world of sports. I'm so proud that I have this platform that I can do the Big C Sports podcast. It's but for the grace of God. And I want to give a message for people going back to school. The only reason Big C Sports podcast exists today is because I show up every day. Unlike ESPN or Fox Sports, they can have people not show up, and the show goes on. If I don't show up and turn on the platforms and do the editing and the preparation and the research, my son Malcolm helps me with a lot of it. Partner Big C helps me sometimes. But if the train runs, sometimes be a lot of people not getting on trains. If the planes fly, sometimes be a lot of people not getting on planes. If the car starts, sometimes be a lot of people not getting in their cars and driving to work. That's why I tell you, Big C Sports Charleston Curry has been nominated for a 2021 ESPY Award. And I'm going to win it because I'm real. And if anyone dares to put someone over Big C Sports Podcast, I want to go on national TV on the ESPYs and have them do a 1-hour sports show where you produce it without a script. You don't have a producer. You don't have a producer in your ear. You don't have 5 research people. You don't have different TV screens that are telling you what to say. You got to speak from your knowledge. You got to speak from your higher self. You got to go in and out of stories, telling stories. You got to have some of the best talent in the history of the universe come on your platform. I produce it. I do the sound effects. I do the stats. I do all of it. How does one man do it on his own? And he's black. I told you, all life came from the African continent. Even Christ was black. Revelations chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. He has skin like brass. Hair like lamb's wool. You don't have to believe me. All you priests, pastors, and bishops know it. Revelations chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 and 10, verse 6. Also in Colossians, Christ was a man of color. And there's so many men of color today, they're afraid to start their own show. They go to mainstream and ask, can I be your backup plan? Can I be your backup plan? You have any other black men that can come on and criticize and tear down on national TV and radio so their kids can listen? I don't mince words. If I say something, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm the first to do that. But like my mama always says, baby, you rise and shine. You show up. Don't make excuses. That's what I love about Clyde Jones. The bank turned them down to build a church in Fairfield, California, near Travis Air Force Base. What did Clyde say? He said they prayed. A lot of the brothers got together and prayed. And they got the money. There was a bank out of Atlanta. And there were some other funding sources that showed up. And they built the church. They didn't walk around with their head down because mainstream said no. That's part of what Big C Sports Podcast is all about. You're not the underdog, you're the overdog. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, Isaiah 54:17. That's the Bible, King James Version. So if I can inspire people, especially my son, as I gave him a beautiful hug today, we talked about some things that a father and son talked about, like the great Luther Vandross, dance with my father. How about hug with my son? How many men are hugging their sons? Black men are the most massively incarcerated men on the planet. 90% of our sons and daughters, they're prosecuted by white people that won't even lock up their own children for the same stuff. But when you have a uniform on, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. You're going to see that on TV a couple weeks coming up. Can't wait for kickoff. Are you ready for some football? So why are we the most massively incarcerated group of men on the planet? Because we don't stick together. I know some people don't believe that what I'm going to say is true, but there's a Willie Lynch letter that was written. Google it, and you can see it all over society. That's why with Clyde, I want to make sure we can build up black men with finances, and don't let people steal from you. You got to make sure you have your own signature on your documentation. There are people who will forge your name and embezzle your money, all while telling you they love you. It's a shame. God knows it's true, and so do the people that did it. The truth shall set you free, but a lot of people would rather be behind bars and guilty than free and innocent. You make the call. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott throws for second straight day in recovery of a latimus strain, so he'll be okay. He'll be in the saddle. Tristan H. Cock, his name is Cockcroft's top 200 fantasy football ratings. A lot of guys into fantasy football. I'm not really into fantasy football. The only fantasy I like is chocolate fantasy. My mom makes the best of them. Got a brother that makes a good chocolate fantasy too. In fact, two of them make the best chocolate fantasies. Oh man, I love them. That's why I gotta do more sit-ups and push-ups. I want to also pay homage to another African-American man that I met today. This guy was about 6 feet tall. Looks like about a solid 240 pounds. He looks like James, I think his name is James Harris, that played for the Steelers, number 92. I might be missing his name. His biceps must have been 22 inches. He had no fat on him. I said, man, what do you eat? He said, I don't eat the Big C burger. I know it's a tasty burger. I know it comes with exotic meats. But he had one. But he doesn't eat the Big C burger. But I do. So it's all fair. It's all fair and level war. I don't have 22 inch biceps. I think my biceps about 20 inches. All fair and level war. But this guy, I asked him, what do you eat? He said, man, he eats a lot of broccoli and Brussels sprouts. Now, I can't confirm or deny. But if you eat about 9 Brussels sprouts, that has as much protein as a steak. And he says he does 500 push-ups every day. 500. Because he's probably about 45, 50 years old. He had the body of a 20-year-old man. Black man. In tune with his body, not on the keto diet. But we just talked about some things in going forward. And I wanted to share that knowledge today. I told him I'd talk about it on the radio. Like everyone needs an ark in their life, an ARK. Everyone needs an ark, like Noah's Ark. Noah had an ark, brought people forward. I'm going to get into some more sports, and a lot of these guys, they understand how to lift weights and eat right. The Seattle Seahawks, they cut defensive end Aldon Smith for off-the-field matters. I hope he gets some help. Because how can you not keep a job in the NFL? Who doesn't want to make $1 million? Playing football, sacking the quarterback. He has some issues going on. They tried to give him a chance. It's a quid pro quo. It takes two. They gave him a chance, but Aldon Smith, again, he's been in trouble almost everywhere he's gone. I hope he gets some help. We don't want that to end in tragedy. I mean, get some help, Aldon Smith. They're going to get you out on the football field if you can play, but sometimes you need to play. And I hope that he gets some help before it's too late. It's a shame. Baltimore Ravens Rashad Bateman to miss a number of weeks with talk. He has a soft tissue injury in his leg. Hopefully that'll cure fast and they'll get him back under the saddle. Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Derek Carr dreams of catching Tom Brady by playing until age 45 years old. You want to know how to do that? Eat the Big C burger. It is a tasty burger and it comes with exotic meats. That's how you get to 45 years old and maybe catch Brady. That's the great Derek Carr, played out of Bakersfield Christian High School and Fresno State University. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about more sports that's going on in the universe. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, I'm back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. There's so many apps you can follow, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Spotify. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, or you'll be sitting there looking at a stock picture. Man, I love pausing, but I'll never pause on saying I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe, just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones or electronic device and just say my name, say my name. Who sang that song? Say my name, say my name. I think it's Beyonce, but I'm not sure. But just say Big C Sports Podcast. Maybe I'll interview Beyonce. I don't want Jay-Z to get mad. You know what I'm saying? It's all fair, love, and war. But the two great performers and entertainers in the universe, the great Beyonce and Jay-Z, all fair, love, and war. I want to just say also to the United States gold medal champions, and the Olympics is over. It's finished. But I want to pay homage to all of our Olympic champions. You know, the Olympics ended on August the 8th. And I want to make sure that I just pay homage. It's a rundown of the medal count. Big C Sports 2021. Espy nominated. And I believe I'm going to win it. And I thank Disney for that. So in the word of all the cheering fans in the Olympics, it's all fair and level war. You have to rise and shine. No Olympian would have won had they decided to stay home and not run the race. Olympic medal countdown 2021, Big C Sports style. #1, USA, the United States of America. 39 gold, 41 silver, 33 bronze, 113 total medals for the United States. #2, China. 38 gold, 32 silver, 18 bronze, and 88 total medals. Congratulations on their Olympic competition. Japan, 27 gold, 14 silver, 17 bronze, 58 total medals. Congratulations. Great Britain, where they also follow Big C Sports Podcast. So important. Great Britain had 22 gold, 21 silver, 22 bronze, and 65 total medals. ROC had 20 gold, 21 silver, 22 bronze, and 65 total medals. Australia, they follow Big C Sports in Australia. Espy nominated 2021. Australia had 17 gold, 7 silver, 22 bronze, and 46 total medals. The Netherlands had 10 gold, 12 silver, 14 bronze, and 36 total medals. France, Parlez-vous français? France had 10 gold medals, 12 silver, 11 bronze, 33 total. Germany had 10 gold medals, 11 silver, 16 bronze, 37 total medals. Italy, they follow Big C Sports in Italy. The Benevice, 10 gold, 10 silver, 20 bronze, 40 total medals. And Canada, they follow Big C Sports in Canada. 7 gold, 6 silver, 11 bronze, 24 total. Brazil had 7 gold, followed by 6 silver and 8 bronze, beg your pardon, and 21 total. New Zealand had 7, 6, and 7 for a total of 20. Cuba had 7 gold, 3 silver, 5 bronze, 15 total. And Hungary, which is, I'm hungry. I'm hungry for the Big C burger. It is a tasty burger, and it comes with exotic meats. They had 6 gold, 7 bronze, 7 silver, and 20 total. So I wanted to make sure we had that done for all the people that love the spirit of competition, the Olympics. You can't get much better than that when you're competing with people all over the world, in fact, all over the universe. I want to thank the great August Wesley and Anthony Wesley Jr. from Kappa Verde. And they came on the Big C Sports Podcast and talked about the Olympics and how they represented their countries. And throughout the country, actually throughout the Tokyo, Japan, people were paying attention to Big C Sports Podcast. Espy nominated Big C Sports Podcast, signing that 7-figure contract because I show up every day, I rise and shine. All's fair in love and war. You know, there's something going on in the world of Major League Baseball. I was talking to Clyde Jones yesterday, and he's someone that he pitched. Again, the first African-American pitcher at Central Missouri State. So everybody has their own goals, their own aspirations about what they want to be when they grow up. And I just encourage everybody to do the best you can at all times. You never know when that door is going to open and someone shines on you. But you got to show up. Young people, like talking to Clyde Jones yesterday, if you don't show up, then how do you win the prize? How do you get the gold medal? How do you get the silver medal? How do you get the bronze? They only give it to people that show up. If they don't show up, you're not going to get those medals. We'll take what's called the Big C pause in the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger. We'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. It's that time of year, young ladies and gentlemen. Get your popcorn ready, or it's a hot dogs, lemonade, whatever they eat, pizza. If you're going to eat hot dogs at Oracle Ballpark in San Francisco, make sure you get your own mayonnaise, because they've trained those seagulls to fly through the ballpark, and sometimes they look like they're trying to help people by delivering packages of mayonnaise. Trust me, it's not mayonnaise. Get your own mayonnaise. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. All fair and love and war. Wednesday, August 11th, St. Louis at Pittsburgh. What a game we have at Pittsburgh. Pitching is Will Crow. That good boy can do his thing on the mound. And on the mound for St. Louis, you know, they have their own pitchers, but I want to pay attention to at the bat is Nolan Arenado. Pay attention to him when he comes up to the bat. Now for Detroit at Baltimore, they had that game delayed, so we don't give you that, but that game has been delayed. When we go to the next game, the LA Dodgers, this team is amazing. LA Dodgers on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies. Them good boys are ready to play some ball. You know, the Dodgers are just trying to catch up. They've won the National League West, I think, 8 years in a row. I think the Giants will win this year. The Giants won the pennant! The Giants won the pennant! The Giants won the pennant! We've heard that before back in the day. But the Dodgers, they're an amazing team. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friend. And then pitching on the mound for the Dodgers is David Price. And when you think about it, that good boy is worth the ticket. David Price doing his thing. It's all fair and love and war. When you look at Philly, they're going to have an assortment of pitchers. I want to take it over to Cleveland. Again, they're called the Indians, but they've already said they're going to change the name to the Guardians, which I think is, it's paying homage to the Native Americans. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friends, the Oakland Athletics. They're 31-23 on the road. Cleveland's 29-25 at home. And away, Frankie Montez is pitching for the A's. His ERA is not the best. It's 4.10. And then Cal Cantrell for Cleveland. I'm going to use my baseball voice today. He's a 3.14 ERA. So he's a Jedi Knight. He throws flamethrowers like lightning. He was definitely trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's 3-2 on the season. Looking forward to that game. Oakland's playing good baseball, though. We also want to go to Boston. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friend, the great Al Pacino, Scarface, Tony Montana. Boston Red Sox, they have a good team. In fact, I picked Boston to win their division, even though the Yankees are coming on strong and Tampa's doing their thing. But pitching for Tampa, you have the great Josh Fleming. He can do his thing. And then I look at Boston, they have a lot of different pitchers, but pay attention when J.D. Martinez is at bat. J.D. Martinez. I love the Boston Red Sox, one of the most rustic stadiums in baseball. They've only added on to the stadium. They never tore it down and decided to build a new one like a lot of people do with their ballparks. So I really love Fenway Park in Boston. It's a great place to see a baseball game, especially with the green monsters, all fair and love and war. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friends as we go over across to the city of New York. The New York Mets, they are 33-20 at home. The Nationals, who just won the World Series just a couple of years ago, they're 21-32 on the way. So not the same team. And, that pitching matchup, I don't have the cards on that, so that to be determined. But I also want to take you to another city in the South. It's a lot like Wakanda for black Americans in business. Atlanta, the pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends, the great Al Pacino, Tony Montana, and Scarface. I really love what the Atlanta Braves are doing. Pitching for Atlanta is Tokoi Toussaint. That good boy can do his thing on the mound. And Cincinnati, they'll be rotating in a couple of different pitchers to handle the house that I won't say Hammer and Hank built it, but they pay a lot of homage to the late great Hank Aaron, All's Fair in Leavenworth. Love the city of Atlanta, Georgia. The great Tyler Perry, he has a beautiful studio. I want to just draw juxtaposition. The same way Tyler Perry, there was a thing that Chris Rock did a couple years ago. It was called hashtag Oscar So White out of Hollywood. You can't find a much more diverse city than Los Angeles. But America does have some issues with skin color. I met a lady today. She is Caucasian. She had a beautiful suntan. She looked like she was black. And she said, "Oh, I love my tan. I love my tan." And she complimented how beautiful my skin is. And she said, "I wish I had skin the color of yours." I said, "You almost do." And we both laughed. She said, "Yeah, thank God for the sunshine. I really love the sunshine." Everybody has a heart of gold. We just got to let it come out and shine. Let the sun shine in. I don't remember who sang that song. But let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. We all got to let the sun shine in on our lives. All fair in Leavenworth. But I want to bring you to the city of Chicago, the Windy City. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend, the great Harry Carey. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. The great late Harry Carey did his thing at beautiful Wrigley Field. A lot like Fenway Park, they've added on to Wrigley Field, but they haven't torn it down and moved it out of the neighborhood. So a lot of people love Wrigley Field. The Brewers on the road, they're a solid baseball team. They're 36-19 on the road. The Cubs are not bad. At home, they're 31-26 at home. But on the road, I mean, overall, when you look at what the Cubs have done, not the greatest season. They're 52-63, but they have a winning record at home. So keep that in mind. Pitching is Corbin Burns for the Brewers. That good a boy, he's 6-4 in the season, a 2.39 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He was trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. But keep in mind also, Jake Arrieta, not the best ERA, 6.34. So his name is a little bit better than his performance this year. But that's a great game when you can watch the Chicago Cubs taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. A great Midwest rivalry. Really appreciate those good boys going at it. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend, the Toronto Blue Jays. At the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Angels are 57-57 on the year. At home, they're 30-27. The Blue Jays are 61-51, but they're 30-26 on the road. That's anybody's game. You make the call from our friends out of Las Vegas. When you look at pitching, Alec Moore is a 2.58 ERA. He's a flamethrower, a modern-day flamethrower, that good old boy. He's 4-1 on the season for Toronto. At home is Dylan Bundy. He's a 6.14 ERA. You make the call. Looks like Toronto might get that game. Of course, we want to see what the great Shohei Ohtani is going to do, whether he's pitching or up at bat. It's all fair and level work. My favorite team this year, in the team that will win the 2021 World Series, the pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. The ball's into McCovey Cove. All fair and level work. The San Francisco Giants, those good old boys, are 36-17 at home. They're 72-41 at overall record. The Diamondbacks are only 14-44 on the road. But the 35-79 overall, not a good season for the Arizona Diamondbacks. On the mound for the Diamondbacks is Merle Kelly. He's 4.13 ERA. Not bad. But Kevin Gossman for the San Francisco Giants, he's 10-5 on the season. A 2.31 ERA. He's a flamethrower. He's a Jedi Knight trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi doing his thing. And he is one of the reasons that I think the Giants will win the 2021 World Series. The Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant. I love the Giants. It's also a closer walk to the ballpark. It's all fair in Leavenworth. I really love baseball. Yeah, my own favorite team, the San Francisco Giants. My dad's favorite team also, San Francisco Giants. Going up I-5, Pacific Rim, the beautiful city of Seattle. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. The Texas Rangers come to town. They're only 40-73 on the season. They're 14-43 away. The Mariners are 59-55 on the season, 33-24 at home. On the mound, man, sometimes you gotta do it. You gotta call them for the bullpen. Spencer Howard is 11.57 ERA. That's not good. Tyler Anderson for the home team Mariners, a 4.35 ERA. That's pretty solid. Not Jedi Knight solid, but still pretty solid. All fair in Leavenworth. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. The Chicago White Sox, managed by the great Tony La Russa in Minnesota, taking on the Minnesota Twins. And the on-the-road pitchers, you have Jose Ruiz pitching for Chicago. But Minnesota, Caleb Theobald, he has actually a pretty solid game today. I don't give out scores for people who want to get on the DVR. And then we have another game down in the heart of Texas. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend, the Houston Astros. The skipper, Dusty Baker, doing his thing out of Del Capo High School, Northern California. He did his thing for the Giants. Dusty did his thing in Chicago, also Cincinnati. Now he's doing his thing again in Houston. That's a good team. And when you look at the pitchers today, Antonio Sinralda for Colorado, and then also for Houston, Framber Valdez. Good boy is a great pitcher. Really love those two players. All fair level work. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. You have the New York Yankees. Oh, Yankees. The New York Yankees at the Kansas City Royals. I can say it because the game is over. The Yankees win. The Yankees win. All fair and level war. For the home runner, the broadcaster for the New York Yankees, Chad Green, was doing his thing on the mound. And then also went up against Brady Sager. I tell you, I like the Yankees. I'm looking at the Red Sox and the Yankees, but you can't count out Tampa. But baseball has a long way to go. They got a long way to go and a short time to get there. The great Smokey and the Bandit, the late Burt Reynolds. All fair and level war, the late Jackie Gleason. Sandy Alcantara on the mound for Miami. And Ryan Matthews on the mound for the San Diego Padres. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. I won't give out who won, but all fair and level war. I really love the game of baseball. I love bringing it to you Big C style. In our segment is called Hit Deep, all fair and level war. You hear the mothership doing the same thing. Is they're trying to go hit deep, describing the long ball. I mean, everybody has their own flavor of sports, and I love bringing it to you Big C style. 2021 ESPY winner, Big C Sports Podcast, signing that 7-figure contract. And for anybody that I say, Comcast did a commercial for Big C Sports. It's called Yeah, It's Time. I want to pay homage to the great Bruce Buffer. It's time! And now, Friday, out of Big C Sports Podcast, ranked number 1 in the universe, Charlton with Big C! I love the way the great Bruce Buffer gets down. You know, ESPY Award, ESPY winner and nominated, Big C Sports. But Comcast did a commercial for Big C Sports. They said top dog Charlton Curry. Yeah, it's time! The great Bruce Buffer. That good boy can do his thing. I'm not plagiarizing because Bruce Buffer, unlike the mothership, when they go to the pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall. They don't say they got it from Big C Sports, but they've been doing it for the last 3 weeks, and they know who they are. It's all fair and level work. It's plagiarism if you don't give out the name. I honor the great Bruce Buffer. It's time! Fighting! iHeartRadio Podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker. It's all fair and level war. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon, Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. It's Big C Sports time. all fair and love and war. I really appreciate Comcast putting that much energy into the promo for Big C Sports. Have a lot more going on with NFL football in 2021. I really appreciate everything that's happened in the world of Big C Sports. I really appreciate it. We have Super Bowl 56 coming up. It's going to be in 2022, but it's a 2021 season at SoFi Stadium in Southern California. We're about 29 days away from the kickoff, and I'm really looking forward to how people just pay homage to NFL football. It's amazing. I love paying homage to a sport that I've loved since I was a little boy. And I love paying homage to some of the greatest quarterback-running back combinations, not just now, but in the past. I mean, we had so many great football players. It's like, when you think about it, we only think about now. But revisionist history tells us that some of the players were just as good in the past. You know, they love it. That's what I love about football and sports. Everybody has their own opinion about who the best players are. And so I like to do Big C style, the way I do it. Everybody has their own opinion. I remember the great Peyton Manning and Monty Ball when they played for the Denver Broncos. You know, some of the most productive quarterback seasons in NFL history. And then also Noshawn Moreno. You know, now in Miami, going back to 2013 season, can Ball carry a 2013 second-round pick through the whole average 4.7 yards a carry. But it's also like Peyton Manning did his thing when he would turn around the handoff. The Broncos is 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. 80,000 fans on hand. We have Fowler wideouts. We have I-set formation. Peyton turns around, hands off to Burrito, turns around in the corner. He's at the 40. He's at the 50. He's at the 30. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. Touchdown, Broncos! That's the great Peyton Manning. They have a handoff, and people would say, what a great handoff. I've never seen a quarterback hand off the ball so well. You know, you could run for a touchdown, and they would still give Manning the credit. But one of the better quarterbacks that I've ever seen, the guy that's been blackballed from the NFL because they love liberty and justice for all, is the great Colin Kaepernick and Frank Gore when they did their thing in San Francisco. Gore had rushed for more than 1,000 yards in 3 straight seasons and 7 of the last 8. At the time, he was 31 years old. Going down the stretch, Colin Kaepernick was the most dominant quarterback in the NFL, beat Aaron Rodgers at home, set a record in the playoffs, and that was back in 2013, and it was at Candlestick Park. I think he rushed for over 100 yards and passed for over 300 yards in that game, over 400 yards total offense. There were times he would turn around and just hand off to Frank Gore. Kaepernick up to the line of scrimmage. They have 4 wideouts, I-set formation, 5 men front by the Packers. Kaepernick turns around, hands off to Frank Gore. Frank Gore is running right. He turns the corner at the 40, at the 30, cuts back at the 20, at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown, 49ers! That would be the great Frank Gore. And as they would always say, what a great handoff by Colin Kaepernick, and Frank Gore just ran 50 yards. It's all fair in love and war. But I love going back to that revisionist history because a lot of times now we want to look at some of the top players, some of the top guys. But also when Tom Brady had Stephen Ridley and the New England Patriots, you know, Brady's a legend at quarterback, even now in Tampa doing his thing. But it says, how much can we trust Ridley? He had fumbling issues over the last 2 seasons when he was handed off to him. But the Patriots also had a great combination, and they tried to use Stephen Ridley to turn things around. Brady comes up to the line of scrimmage, has 4 wideouts, I-set formation. The Dolphins in the 5-men front. Brady turns around, hands the ball off, has Ridley running right. He's across the 50. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown, Patriots! What a great handoff by Tom Brady. It really just ran 50 yards to the house. It's all fair level war. But running backs know what I'm talking about. But I love that revisionist history. Another great running back combination. Touchdown, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Le'Veon Bell with the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a rookie, Bell totaled 8 scores and almost 1,300 yards. He also missed 3 games, but he averaged 3. It was just 3.5 yards per carry, not like Franco Harris. But every time, coming up to the line of scrimmage, the Steelers 4 wideouts, I-set formation, and the Browns have a 5-man front. Big Ben turns around, hands off to Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon's running left, turns the corner at the 40, at the 30, at the 25. He's across the 15. 10-5, touchdown, Steelers! Le'Veon Bell, 50 yards. What a great handoff by Big Ben Roethlisberger. And the running backs know what I'm talking about. They know these quarterbacks, these NFL future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They get all the credit. There's nothing wrong with getting the credit. All fair, love award. You know, there was another great quarterback, running back combination. It's just my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. Josh McCown and Doug Martin for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day. It was like people had the narrative, can McCown continue his magic away from Mark Trestman in Tampa Bay? And it seemed unlikely, but Martin had a superlative rookie season. His second year left much to be desired, but there were times when McCown comes up to the line of scrimmage, have 4 wideouts, I-set formation, and the Falcons in a 5-man front. McCown turns around, hands off to Doug Martin across the 50, at the 40, 35, 30. 30 at the 25, cuts back at the 15, 10-5, touchdown! Buccaneers! What a great handoff. Some of the announcers will think he placed that ball right in the breadbasket where he had to place it. Had he not done that, Martin would have ran 50 yards. 50 yards, all fair. 11 more as a former running back. You got to get a good handoff, but they like it when they give the quarterback credit after the running back runs 50 yards. You know, one of my favorite running backs in college football, even when he played at Helix High School in La Mesa, California, the great Reggie Bush. And again, everybody has their own opinion. I really appreciate what Reggie did at Helix La Mesa. Alex Smith was the quarterback when they won the San Diego Section Championship at Helix. Alex Smith went to Utah. And then Reggie Bush went to USC. And they won. They split a national championship when they beat Michigan in the Rose Bowl. I think it was 28-14. And then they blew out Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl down in SEC country, 55-19. And came back to the Rose Bowl in the 2005 national championship. And for some reason, Pete Carroll had Reggie Bush, the Heisman Trophy winner, who was averaging 5 yards a carry in the Rose Bowl against Texas. He was on the sideline for 3rd and 4th down. They had 3rd and 2 and 4th and 1. They gave the ball to Lindell White twice, who also had 100 yards in that game. He was not as explosive as Reggie Bush. They just had to give the ball to Reggie. But Matthew Stafford, if you recall, now with the Lions, Reggie Bush doing analyst work for college football, he should get his Heisman Trophy back, my opinion. But Matthew Stafford and Reggie Bush, they also had a guy by the name of Jock Bell for the Detroit Lions. And Reggie Bush, I mean, they had one of the best 1-2 punches at running back in the NFL that season. Matthew Stafford up to the line of scrimmage, I-set formation. They have 4 wideouts, 5 men front by the Bears. Stafford turns around, hands off to Reggie Bush. Reggie at the 50, at the 40, 35, 30, down to the 25, at the 20, at the 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Lions! Reggie Bush, 50 yards! What a great handoff by Stafford. He put it right in the breadbasket. I know all the top running backs, they understand that. You got to put it right in the breadbasket. You can pitch out to Reggie Bush, he was still going to score. But oftentimes, these running backs would go 50 yards, and they would give credit to the quarterback. What a great handoff. I've never seen a quarterback that can hand the ball off that great. Oftentimes, they would do that for quarterbacks. And then another great running back, revisionist history. Saw this kid do his thing at Oklahoma. He was shut down by USC in the 2004 National Championship game down at the Orange Bowl in Florida, SEC territory. Now that same Oklahoma University is joining the SEC, leaving the Big 12. USC beat them 55-19. It was Reggie Bush against Adrian Peterson. But this time, Teddy Bridgewater, who's now doing his thing in Denver, you know, he did his thing at Louisville and then had us bounced around the league, just left Carolina, and now he's at Denver. But if you think about it, we're in Mile High. It's all fair 11 war. But now I'm going to go back to Minnesota, because that's where it is now. In Minnesota, what a great crowd on hand. Bridgewater up to the line of scrimmage. Adrian Peterson in the backfield, I-set formation, 4 wideouts, 5 men front by the Packers. Bridgewater turns around, hands off. Adrian Peterson running right, breaking through the line of scrimmage at the 40, at the 30, at the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Vikings! 50 yards, the great Adrian Peterson. And what the announcers say, That was the greatest handoff I've ever seen by Teddy Bridgewater. Peterson just did his thing 50 yards. And they said, what a great handoff by Teddy Bridgewater. Also, it's all fun in Leavenworth War. I love the sports universe. We'll do one more for today, Big C style, winner of the 2021 ESPY. You know, there's not many places like the great Lambeau Field. You go back in time, and Aaron Rodgers ended 2013 having finished 3 straight seasons without a 1,000-yard rusher. In back-to-back years, Rodgers didn't even have a running back with more than 600 yards. Onto the scene, the great Eddie Lacy. And Rodgers up to the line. Lambeau Field is on his feet. Has 4 wideouts. I-set formation. The Bears in a 5-man front. Rodgers turns around, pitches out to Lacy. Lacy cutters across the 50. He's at the 40. Cuts back at the 30. At the 20. At the 10. At the 5. Touchdown! Green Bay! Eddie Lacy, 50 yards. What do the announcers say? That's the greatest handoff I've ever seen by Aaron Rodgers. Eddie Lacy just did his thing for 50 yards. And the announcers say, what a great handoff by the great Aaron Rodgers. I love having fun with Big C Sports. All fair in Leavenworth War. If they really want to increase NFL football, all they got to do is have the great Bruce Buffer. That's my opinion. If they brought in the great Bruce Buffer, there's no doubt they would have the best introductions in NFL football, because he would say, and now, fighting from the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs. And for the Super Bowl introduction, and now fighting for the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That would be the great Bruce Buffer. Think about that. He might do it since they've heard Big C Sports talk about it. He might be introducing NFL football. Instead of saying, are you ready for some football? The great Bruce Buffer would say, are you ready for some football? Think about it. He deserves it. He's a great Bruce Buffer. He does all the boxing, MMA style, all fair level war. I want to tell everybody, if you're going up to college, listen to the song, the late Luther Vandross, Dance With My Father. It's all fair level war. If you see somebody doing something, pay attention. I heard a story today from an arc. Everybody needs to know his arc. Could you imagine Muhammad Ali, the Thriller in Manila? Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Go back to the time when Muhammad Ali was fighting Joe Frazier. They had some great fights. Madison Square Garden, wherever they're fighting. And so Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier are in the ring. And they're actually fighting. And Muhammad Ali's getting the best of Joe Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. And then imagine Muhammad Ali's daughter, the great boxer Layla Ali. She jumps into the ring and she starts helping Joe Frazier beat up her dad. Ali would go, what in the world? I'm floating like a butterfly. I'm stinging like a bee. I'm rumbling, young man rumbling. And my daughter gets in the ring and helps my opponent beat me up. Some people do that to their own families. It's all fair level. But don't do that to your family. You may not like them. They may not like you. But whose side are your own? It's all fair and level war. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. And he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly. You sting like a bee. You rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? As I always say, everybody rise and shine. As my mama always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you, on the ESPY nominated winner 2021 Big C Sports Podcast, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.